much. And it's an honor to be here in your house.
Thank you very much.
That you open your doors for us, for La Luci to come here into your...
Well, you bring up the frequency.
I bring up the frequency.
Any room you come into, it's always a blessing.
No, I love to come here. I feel like I come to the house of knowledge. And herbs.
These are the oldest utilized herbs on the planet by more people than ever in any other system in history. I think the Native Americans had a very profound herbal system as well, but a lot of that has been lost. Fortunately for us, this knowledge of use of these herbs throughout around 7,000 years has been preserved, and so we have a great body of knowledge to draw from now on the therapeutic use of these plants, and also their safety and their efficacy have been clearly determined throughout the use of by billions of people in history.
I mean, the only herb that I can possibly see that I recognize would be like the licorice.
Yes.
That's the only thing, and it's not even an herb.
Well, like licorice root is an interesting herb because it's funny. It's interesting that you brought it up because this herb does help to explain the complexity and the brilliance of the system of Chinese Taoist herbalism, because this herb, licorice, is considered to be a harmonizing herb. It's the most commonly used herb in Chinese herbal formulas because it's thought to actually bring all of the herbs in the formula into harmony with each other. And secondly, it's an excellent herb for mild detoxification of the body and blood. It's a very, very helpful herb in that regard.
But I don't see any like green tea, jasmine, I mean chamomile.
Yeah.
I see agaricus, hoshubun. What is all that?
This is a mushroom that was actually identified by an amateur mycologist in his backyard in Connecticut. But it actually has its origins in Brazil, in the rainforests of Brazil. This is a very powerful herb. The Chinese and the Japanese are using this herb for immune-compromised situations.
It doesn't smell good.
It's very powerful for the immune system. No, a lot of these aren't necessarily culinary herbs. They're not. You wouldn't put them in your. Yeah. Your spaghetti, your marinara,
I heard you told me before that your expertise are in women's health.
I love people. I want to help us, make sure we can propagate healthy future generations. I think that's the main orientation of most people who are interested in health, is that we can continue, to survive and healthily on this planet. That does, to me, go to the source of that is the female reproductive, the integrity and the health of the female reproductive system, which is definitely, generally speaking, we're seeing difficulties there due to the toxicity of our planet is definitely having effects on female reproductive health. In fact, I'm writing a book on this, and I've been bogged down in a chapter on women's health for over a year because of the details. But actually, the core problems that most women face are very similar and very, very common. They have their common origins. The origins of most female problems are anemia and stress. Menopause and postmenopause are a particular interest of mine because I found out that women are really, during that time, they really need to have inspiration, because it is a time of a deepening new type of empowerment that women come into. In other words, the hormones that the balance of a woman's hormones during her fertile years, that it causes the ratios of hormones where progesterone and estrogen are higher in their ratios, and this has the effect of having a woman is going to be focused on the propagation of a nuclear family, bear children, nurture and raise them. So the focus is on the immediate family. When menopause happens and afterward, a woman, then the hormonal shifts occur that give women more power, and they can then start to, because Mother Nature designed it where at that age a woman then has the extended family to deal with. You got the grandchildren over here, you got uncles and aunts over here, hey, get out of that pie over there. Hey, you gotta get out of that. Quit making that mess.
That's the time of power.
That's the time of the matriarchal power.
Talking about stress, it relates to everybody nowadays.
Yeah, it does,
It's not
yeah.
only just women. How about guys? How about the men?
Well, stress does have its primary effect is on the adrenals, because adrenaline is released when we're under stress, and the human organism is not designed to be able to adapt to constant stress. Stress is designed to occur in an adrenaline rush, and then you have parasympathetic elements that then calm the body and relax. And this actually is good for the body in some regards. When you have to run from the tiger, get in the cave and put the rock over and take a deep breath, we're safe, Batman. Yes, Robin, and and so that's actually good. That actually kind of gives your endocrine system a little exercise in a sense, But when we're under constant stress, it depletes the adrenals, cortisol, adrenaline, these sort of steroid hormones, sterol hormones. They are overused and constantly in the blood, and then that's going to have hormonal imbalances are going to occur.
And in that note, we're going to leave some good stuff for later, because Dean in our next interview is going to talk about aphrodisiac herbs that not only for women, but also for men.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You're cold.
I know I am. Yeah. You're warm. That's good. That means you're healthy.
That's unusual. Normally.
Very